Well, hey there, Brickheads. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope your Wednesday's going well. I know mine is because every Wednesday we get to talk a Wild Card Wednesday, and I am really excited to talk about today's topic. So, hey, before I get into that, though, I do just want to say thank you so much. You know, whether you are listening in on your favorite podcast platform, or maybe you're a visual person and you just like watching the YouTube page, no matter how you get these episodes, I just really greatly appreciate it. I love seeing people tune in, love the interaction. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, don't forget to subscribe for new episodes. I come out with new ones. Every Monday is news and rumors, and every Wednesday I tend to alternate between random topics and set reviews. But you can get me twice a week if you would like. So anyway, like I said, just thank you. I appreciate it. But moving on from there, today is an exciting day because I'm just going to say in this episode, you get to call me Ishmael because it is all about the white whale, right? Even if you've never read Moby Dick, you know, the Herman Melville classic, we all know the white whale, right? That classic, thing, the classic animal that Ahab's going after. And in collecting, if you are a collector, you know the term white whale for a different reason. And let me read to you what it is, the definition. I looked it up, believe it or not. The term white whale refers to something that is obsessed, someone is obsessed with finding, this is in parentheses, but will probably never manage to do so. The potentially mythical object of endless, lifelong quest, and every collector, it doesn't just have to be Lego. No matter what you collect, there's a white whale out there for you. That one set, that one object, that one thing that you pine over. You don't necessarily even think you're going to get it. It's just the thought or the quest or the efforts to always be on the lookout for it, in efforts to try and get it, to add it to your collection, so you can finally say, my collection is complete, right? And so, we're talking Lego today. So a normal, widely released set that I think people could consider a white whale, just to give you an example, would be like the classic 2007 UCS Millennium Falcon. That 10179 set, 5,000 plus pieces, which was just unheard of at the time. The biggest Star Wars set ever released at the time. Thing was a beauty, and if you didn't get your hands on it, it was $500. And $500 in 2007 for a Lego set, I know, in some ways it kind of seems more outrageous than a $1,000 Lego set today, but to spend $500, you're like, no way I'm going to spend that much. Well, lo and behold, the people who did, once this set retired, we're talking as early as 2010, this set had more than doubled in price, actually more than tripled in price. If you wanted it new in box, at the height of its popularity before the new Falcon came out, I would say it usually cost about $3,000. And especially if you were getting one of those first edition ones, those were the super special ones. If you wanted to find one used, you're still going to spend over $1,000. So for a lot of us, that was a white whale. Then, of course, Lego does what Lego does, and they re-released the set itself. So if you want to find it new in box today, I think it's down to like $2,000, but still clearly an expensive set. Other white whales out there like Cafe Corner, one of the first modulars ever released. Cloud City, the iconic 2003 Cloud City set with the Boba Fett figure in it, and that Boba Fett minifig sells by itself for over $1,000. These are sets we wished we had bought. At that time, you look at that old picture and you're just like, man, I wish we could have. And there are multiple reasons, but obviously the main reason that prevents people from getting their white whale set is money. It's just simple as that. But sometimes it's not just about money. Sometimes it's about availability. Sometimes it's about the scarcity of the item, the rarity of the item. Sometimes a Lego set or an Lego item is just so rare that you could be the richest person in the world and you're still not going to get this item. So today, I'm going to go over it. I'm going to go over, how exclusivity works in Lego, give you some examples of that, and also by the end, talk to you about some ways to work around that because, we're not rich, and it's an expensive hobby in and of itself with all the new sets coming out, let alone all these white whales that we dream about getting. So I'm going to try and guide you through that process and then also try to give you some tips and recommendations to help navigate that as well. So let's get rolling with it. I want to start off by telling you my personal white whale. And no, it's not the UCS Millennium Falcon. I don't have that in my collection. I don't know if I ever will. I don't know, even as a hardcore Star Wars fan, if I have the need to. I did buy the new one when it first came out, that first moment, just so I could get the VIP black card and the exclusive set. But then I sold it off because the money was good and I wanted the money. But my white whale personally is a set that came out way back in the year 2000. And it is set 3450, the Statue of Liberty. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll throw up images so you can see what I'm talking about. But the Statue of Liberty, you got to understand the blockiness of it. Lego in 2000, all the way up to even just 10 years ago, really wasn't about hiding the studs. It was about making that object showing off the stud. You clearly knew it was made of Lego, but it was just about the size of it, the scale of it, the grandeur of it. And the Statue of Liberty, I absolutely loved it. It was 2,882 pieces, which was ginormous for the time. It was done all in sand green, which also at the time, and really still today, is a rarer color. Like you can build a Statue of Liberty with white Lego bricks today and for relatively cheaply. But to build it out of sand green, that's a tougher prospect. And I was actually looking up on BrickLink because you can look at sale items, like, sold listings. And in the last 6 months, there was a set sold back in October, used for $850. And then there was a set sold in December, used for $1,000. And it's hard to justify wanting to spend $1,000 on 2,882 sand green bricks. They're not specialized pieces. You know what I mean? They're just 2x4, 2x2, 1x6s, your normal bricks. And so, I probably will never get it. But it's a set I think about still a lot. It's like 3 feet tall. I think it's gorgeous. I like the blocky look of it. There's also a custom stand. People mocked a custom stand for it that's like 5,000 or 6,000 pieces. So when you add it all together, it's a 5-foot tall set, and it's absolutely glorious. So if I ever win the lottery, I definitely wouldn't tell you, but there would be signs, because I'd have the Statue of Liberty standing behind me in all of its glory. In fact, I was looking, there's only 12 of them. So it's not just that it's expensive. On BrickLink, there are only 12 of them for sale right now, and those are all used. There is only one for sale that is new in box, and kudos to that person who decided to hold on to this set for 25 years to sell it, because they're selling it currently for $5,680. And I will tell you, that's astronomical. And usually when you see that, these people that are buying those sets, mint, sealed in box, they're not ever opening it. They're buying it strictly for an investment so that they can then resell it to make profit, which I think is kind of silly, because as much as I am a commercial guy and I like to buy official Lego sets, I don't really like to leave them in box. I really think Lego is meant to be bought to be built. That's the joy. That's the love for it, right? And I'm not dogging on people who just want to resell Lego, but that's just not my passion. So, but anyway, that's my white whale. And I will tell you, if you have white whales out there, chances are, well, really, they're on all of these scales. And it'll be interesting to see where your white whale falls. And in fact, please, I encourage you, tell me what your white whale is down in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, I will answer back to those comments that you leave. I would love to know, Rufus, Renee, all those listeners out there, tell me, what is your white whale? Like, if you could have that one set, what would it be? Be damned the cost, be damned the availability. What is that one thing that you would love in that collection that just is Lego? So first off, what I talked about was a widely released set. Okay, this is most Lego sets. Where a set has been released, it had a shelf life, and now it has been retired. It is no longer available for purchase. So you are forced to purchase this on the aftermarket. That's the first level of exclusivity, okay? That is the UCS Falcon, the Statue of Liberty, sets like that. They were at one point, if you were savvy enough, you could go find it and you could buy it for retail. But now, you have to pay the marked up cost. And so I talked about those. But honestly, that's just the lowest tier. Let's move up to the next tier, which is a regional exclusive. Now, a regional exclusive is kind of fun and sometimes really annoying because this is a set that is only widely released in a specific area. So, for example, like the New York keychain that says, "I love New York," right? Those are sold in Lego stores in the New York area. It is specific to that region. Or another great example, I think it was 2019, the Chinese New Year Dragon Dance set. This is a really cool set. It is a set that moves. It's is it JD Brickworks does a lot of those kinetic sculptures from Lego. So this is a really neat set where you have the dragon moving up and down. But this set was only available for purchase if you lived in the Asia market. And this happens a lot. It also happens a lot with like gift with purchases, right? Like Australia might get a certain gift with purchase, while the States or all of North America might get a different gift with purchase. So those are your regional exclusives. Always more sought after, always more money because, you're not just going to fly over to Beijing to get your New Year Dragon Dance set, so you have to buy it on the aftermarket. And there's always going to be a markup there, but that's just level 2. Move it up to level 3. This is where things get interesting. This is where it's not just about price. This is where money and availability do start playing a factor. And this is site exclusives. This is a set or a thing that you could only get in one place, right? A site exclusive. A good example of this would be your Lego house sets. If you go to Billund, to Denmark, and you go to their huge Lego house, there's a store in there, and in that store, there are sets you can only find at that store. It is very exclusive. So, for example, the upscale pirate or the Lego wooden duck. Lego, when they first came out, they were a wooden toy company, and they made these cute little wooden ducks that were on wheels, and they were a little pull toy. Well, Lego recreated that in bricks, and they made it an exclusive set to the Lego house. Very sought after set, very cool. Architecture does this. There is a Lego house set, like a architecture set of the place you're literally in. It's also a very cool set. Part of the official architecture theme, but it's a site exclusive set. And so if you are like me and you are a completionist, now you're having to definitely pay more money to get a set of a theme that you may want to complete. And that really, to collectors, can be very frustrating. For example, I love architecture. I love brickheads, and I'm going to talk about brickheads more later, but it's like to get 100% of a theme is exceptionally difficult. And why? Because you have things like this, a Lego house exclusive. Another great example from architecture, 2013, the Marina Bay Sands Resort. A beautiful architecture set. I want to say it was on sale at the time for like $60, but it was only available at the gift shop at the Marina Bay Sands Resort in Singapore. So, yeah, I don't know about you, but I was not scheduling a trip to go to Singapore anytime soon. So if I wanted this set, the aftermarket, and it's only available for a certain amount of time. So if this set had a 2-year shelf life, for one, the amount of these sets that are out there are going to be far, far lower than a widely released set. And then two, that just means you have one chance, and that is to either get it in that time span in this weird location or buy it on the aftermarket. And if you want a Marina Bay Sands new in box, plan on paying at least $500, maybe more. And again, at this point, a lot of those new in box sets, people aren't even opening because they're like, well, I just spent my kids' college tuition on this. No way I'm going to open it. Maybe I could sell it for a higher price and then buy a used version of it. You just never know. So one other example, moving into brickheads like I was talking about, there are some brickheads out there that are site exclusive brickheads. There is one there's an Amsterdam brickhead. So a Lego store opened in Amsterdam in 2019. I feel like 2019 was the year of the exclusive brick. But they put out a brickhead, just a normal dude, but his shirt says, "I heart Amsterdam." Like, that is really the only exclusive piece you have to this entire brickhead set. And because of that, it's a $600 set. And granted, again, people are buying this not only for the set itself, but also the packaging. The packaging is important because, on a set like that where it says, "I love Amsterdam," nowadays, people can reprint that brick. Or they can print a sticker to put over it to make it look like it is an official piece, right? And so if you want to say that it's official, people have the packaging that goes with it. That happens a lot. But yeah, it's going to cost you like $600 for a $10 brickhead set. That's site exclusive. So that is level 3. You know what's crazy? We got 3 more levels to go. So we're already talking items that are in the hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, and we still have 3 more levels to go. Beyond site exclusives, the next tier up I would consider are event exclusives. So this means you not only have to be at that specific area at that time, but you have to be at that actual event where they are either giving it away or they are selling it. And great examples of these are the Inside Tour and San Diego Comic-Cons and New York Comic-Cons. The Inside Tour, I did a whole podcast on this, talked about all the Inside Tour sets, gave you pricing for all of them. If you're interested in knowing what the Inside Tour is, I encourage you to listen to it. But in a nutshell, it's a tour that you can take at the Lego facility that nobody else gets to take. And the coolest part about this tour is that you get this exclusive set that is only released for the Inside Tour. So typically, there's only like 90 of them or 120 of these sets. They go for literally upwards of $3,000-$4,000, depending on availability. The Vietnam factory, just recently, a week ago, I want to say it was a week or 2 ago, there was a new Lego factory that opened in Vietnam. Well, if you were there at that opening event, they handed out a factory of the Vietnam factory, literally, at that event. But you could only get it if you were at that event. So very exclusive, very hard to get. San Diego Comic-Con, though, is probably the best example of this, where we get those most talked about items. So, for example, a good one, if you like Stranger Things, there's one really cool Stranger Things set. There's also, what's his name? Will's Hideout. That was an exclusive event, but the one I want to talk about is the minifig. You know Barb? Barb is the character that gets killed off. Spoiler alert, season 1. Well, they released a minifig of Barb at the height of Stranger Things popularity. But here's the deal. They only released it at San Diego Comic-Con. And so when it comes available, this minifig sells for literally over $1,000. But here's the harder part. When we're at these last 3 levels, again, doesn't matter if you're rich. It's about availability. I could not even see, and this is just obviously I was just checking for the last couple days. So they do come up, definitely at this level. They come up in more regularity, but I didn't see a single Barb for sale currently at bricklink.com. So it doesn't matter how much money you have if there's not one for sale, right? It's a cool little minifig, but if it comes available, you're going to spend a lot of money. Marvel minifigs, DC minifigs, the Superman in his black outfit, that one goes for a lot of money. That was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. BrickHeads. Did you know? BrickHeads made their debut not to the worldwide audience, but to the select few people at the 2016 San Diego Comic-Con. You know, there was a Joker and Batman duo set. There was a Iron Man and Captain America duo set. You know, these are $20 BrickHeads. But because the packaging says San Diego Comic-Con on it, and because they were exclusive just to this 2016 event, if you want to get those sets now, used, plan on paying at least $500. New in box, though, upwards of $1,000. I mean, think about that for a second. It's a $20 Lego set where people are essentially going to pay $1,000 for a set that they're never going to open because they want the packaging that says San Diego Comic-Con. You very rarely see these used because people don't want to go to the effort to open it because it loses part of its value. It literally lost half its value as soon as you open it. And that is one of the things that happens with collectibles. You see this with trading cards a lot. You know, that Pokemon Jungle Pack sure is worth a lot of money, but as soon as you open it and there's no rare card in there, it's not worth much anymore. So this is the same thing for Lego. One of my favorite BrickHead set, though, that was a site exclusive event, like if I were to go buy any of them, which I'm not, these are literally the only BrickHeads I don't have, are the ones that were event exclusives. But at New York Comic-Con, there was a Boba Fett and Han Solo in Carbonite duo set. The set, I think, is so cool, right? This is when it made me go, oh man, I really want to get into BrickHeads. And so I started collecting the regular ones. But if I want that set, I'm going to pay $500, $600 for it, for sure. So anyway, that's level 4. I mean, we're talking about sets that can go for $3,000 upwards to $5,000 already. And that's level 4. We have 2 levels left. The next level up, I'm going to call it random exclusives. Usually random exclusives are based on a contest, a raffle, a contest, something like that, where here's the deal. They're out there, but you had to be you just had to be lucky almost. Mr. Gold is a great example of this. Mr. Gold is a Series 10 minifig. And they were in blind bags like everything else. But, you know, of the hundreds of thousands of Series 10 blind bags that went out there, 5,000 of them were Mr. Gold. It was a chrome, rich baron looking guy with a big old top hat. Well, Mr. Gold, you know, he's going to go for a couple $1,000. Easy. You want to get even more rare, though? the Chrome C3PO. There are more of these out there, but I love talking about this. This is from the 2007. They were celebrating the 30th anniversary of Star Wars. And so what they did is if you ordered a Lego Star Wars set that year, randomly, it was like one in like 250 orders, they would put in a little random poly bag that basically said, "Congrats, you are the new owner of a Chrome C3PO." There were 10,000 of these made. And I was looking at sales for these in the last 6 months. One sold for like $1,800. And then there's like 26 of them that are currently up for sale. Will range you anywhere between $1,700 and $7,300. So, and these are interesting because at this point you do have to look for fakes as well. So let's say you're a minifigure completionist and you want these two. Mr. Gold is a great example of a minifig that gets plagiarized is not the right word, but fake duplicated. God, I copycatted. I can't even think of the word right now, but you know what I mean. A counterfeit. Haha, that's what I was looking for. There are a lot of counterfeit Mr. Golds out there. So if you are actually in the market for something that's going to cost you this much money, you got to verify if it's real. Like Mr. Gold came with a certificate of authenticity. The C3PO, most people just buy them if they're still in the poly bag because the poly bag shows you that it is legit. So, but yeah, that is a random exclusive. But wait, there's one last one. This is the most exclusive, and it is the contest exclusives. Guys, you have to be rich for this one. And not only do you have to be rich, you have to be lucky, and you have to be in the right place at the right time. Because when we talk about availability, like next to nothing. Great example, the solid gold Boba Fett's. In 2010, San Diego Comic-Con. So again, you already had to be at an exclusive event that was really hard to get into. You had to not only be a part of the event, but you had to sign up for it. And at that event, they had a contest. They did it, I believe, at the San Diego Comic-Con and one other convention. But basically, if you won, you could win a Boba Fett minifig. There were 10,000 Boba Fetts that were done in white. Cool. That would be incredible. Still sells for a couple $1,000s. But if you were the lucky winner, there were two, count them two, 14 karat gold Boba Fetts and two sterling silver Boba Fetts that were released. To one or two, it was one lucky contestant at San Diego Comic-Con and then one lucky contestant at the other convention. And so it's hard enough to get into this event and get the event exclusives, but then you also basically had to win the lottery to get the other thing. These Boba Fett's, the estimated value, because we can't just say, oh, this is what it's worth, because there're just not enough of them to get a good idea of what someone is going to pay for them. But estimates have it, well, at around $11,000 to $20,000. The gold one is almost an ounce of gold. That's like $3,000 just in material right there. So you're going to pay a small used car price for one minifig. The other really cool one I like to share are the Bionicle masks. Bionicle was a cool series, a cool theme that actually saved Lego from extinction. You know, I always talk about this. Back in 2001, Lego was on the verge and did end up going bankrupt, I believe. And they were not solvent. And it was Bionicle and Star Wars that kept them going until they could have their resurgence later in like 2005 in the later half of that decade. But in 2001, they made some exclusive Bionicle masks to give away in both a contest and to employees. There were 30 golden Kahoni Hau masks that were made. Now, 25 of these went to Lego employees. And we're talking, this is like almost an ounce of gold, a mask made of gold, right? And 5 were given away at giveaways. So again, you had to be at the event, you had to get lucky, and you had to basically win the lottery. Well, fun story, last year, I think about this time last year, someone brought one of these golden masks to a Goodwill up in the Northeast in the United States. And the Goodwill posted it. They posted it for sale for like $15. You know, they didn't realize that it was actually a gold mask. They just thought it was like a gold-plated toy. So they didn't think anything of it until people started flooding in with offers saying, I'll give you $1,000 for it. I'll give you $1,500 for it. And they realized pretty quickly what they had and how rare it was. In fact, the first auction for this item was upwards to like, I want to say $30,000 to like $33,000. And that one kind of fell through, but they ended up selling it for $18,000. A 1 ounce gold Bionicle mask. Again, only 30 in existence. And who knows now, if that happened to that one, who knows what happened to the other ones, but that is an $18,000 Bionicle mask that you can't just buy. You have to get lucky to see if it even comes up for sale. So that is just crazy to me. So there you go. Those are our 6 levels. And I think it's important to understand these levels, because if you have one of these things that are your white whales, how can you get them? How do you purchase them? Well, I will tell you, for the top 3 levels, there's not much you can do besides just be rich. Actually, for all 6 of the levels, being rich is the easiest thing to do, but for the top 3 levels, you pretty much have to be rich or insane and really lucky. But for the bottom 3 levels, there are things you can do to help increase your odds at getting that white whale set. So I would say, besides being rich, be patient. Being patient usually can get you a better price on something. Now, don't be patient when the thing comes up. You have to act. When the thing comes up for sale, you have to act. But you don't have to just go purchase the first thing that you see. It's important to do your homework on these things, to understand a relative price and understand the price that you can spend without going over your budget, because that's extremely important too, because it's no use getting a white whale if you blow all your money on it and you can't afford food, so then you just have to sell it again. So you have to know your budget and you have to be willing to work within that. I will tell you, patience has paid off for me, because I found this set. If you're looking at YouTube, if you're watching me on YouTube, I have the Imperial Shuttle next to me. It's the UCS, I believe it's the 10242 Imperial Shuttle. This set sold at the time, what year did it come out? Like 2011, 2010, but it sold for like $260. This set retired, I want to say, in 2013, give or take. It was about a year or 2 after this set had retired, and I really wanted it. I love the Imperial Shuttle. I think it's a cool set. It's huge, right? Very unique build. We've never actually gotten a set like this since at this scale. It's just a really impressive set to both build and display. Kind of unwieldy, but impressive. I bought this set for $250. I actually bought it from a guy off of Craigslist a couple of years after it was retired. And at that time, usually $400 to $450 was the typical asking price for this set. Like, I could have gone to Amazon. I definitely could have gone to eBay. You can find this set on eBay today. I could have gone to BrickLink or BrickOwl, but I just waited. I just sat on my hands because I knew what my budget was. And I saw a dude literally, it's not like I even talked him down. He literally posted it on Craigslist for $250. I was like, this is $10 below asking price. I was the first. Are you interested? Yes. Okay, let's meet up. Sure, I might get murdered, but it's going to be worth it. And let me tell you that it was. I remember driving home with this set in my car, me driving, and this in the passenger seat with a seatbelt around it, and me just like singing and dancing because I just couldn't believe how lucky I was to have this bad boy. I got it home, disassembled, because he actually gave it to me assembled. I disassembled the whole darn thing, washed all of the pieces in the dishwasher in like one of those garment bags, got it washed up, got all the pieces dried, built it. It's a lovely set that I've had now for, like I say, around a decade. And I just love it. I think it's gorgeous. But I had to be patient. I had to wait because I knew what my budget was and I knew I couldn't go over that. And it was just as simple as that. And I got lucky. When I see this guy post, I'm all over it. And I will say, be resourceful. Don't just use Amazon. If you're shopping just on Amazon, you're going to pay more than you should. Oftentimes the Amazon sales aren't as good as the good prices that you can find on, say, like BrickLink or BrickOwl. So use BrickLink, use BrickOwl, use Craigslist. Not as good as it used to be. Lego, just in general, people understand it a little bit more now, but there's still plenty of moms out there whose children have gone into the dark ages, and it's not just Lego Friends sets that are out there, and they're just like, we want to get rid of this Lego. Will you give us $100 for this pile? And you're just like, sure, let's go for it. So Craigslist, it's still good. Facebook Marketplace, eBay still good. Heck, Goodwill. Obviously, you can get a $15 Bionicle mask that is worth $18,000 at Goodwill. A little rare, but yeah, Goodwill. Garage sales. Garage sales are usually, they're tough because you got to get there early because, again, people know more about Lego and they know more about what it's worth because there's people like me out there talking about Lego and as an investment tool. And so it is harder than it has ever been, but if you're patient and you're looking, you can get it. Another case in point, my Super Star Destroyer. One of my crown jewels of my collection, the Super Star Destroyer, it was still actually on sale at the time when I got this, but it was another Craigslist buy. Dude was selling it for $200. Like, you hear what I'm saying right now? It was amazing. It's a $400 set back in 2011 or 2012 when I bought it. It's $400 retail. And he posted it on Craigslist for $200. And I was like, I actually said to him, are you sure just $200? And he's like, yeah. Like, I think it's a scam. But I went, it was a real deal. And it came disassembled and it was kind of a little worry. But here's the cool part. Not only was it 100%, it had the manual and it had all the minifigs. And I will tell you, when you are also buying and when you're dealing with people on Craigslist, because there are scammers out there, and even the people who aren't scammers, you need to double check. You need to do your homework. Are you willing to buy this set used? Are you willing to buy it without a manual? Are you willing to buy it without minifigs? All of these things affect the cost. Honestly, the Imperial Shuttle, I wouldn't have cared if it didn't have minifigs. Honestly, the Super Star Destroyer, I wouldn't have cared if it didn't have minifigs. I wanted the set. And so that was a gamble, a risk I was willing to take, but it effectively lowered the cost. And then the last way, one other way I think you should definitely consider going back to BrickLink, you can build the set. Oftentimes, most sets, especially like a Star Wars set like this is mostly just white pieces, mostly just common white pieces that you can buy for a reasonable amount of money. You can literally, there are tools out there between Rebrickable and BrickLink. You can part out pretty much any set and decide, because sometimes building it brick by brick is cheaper than buying the full set complete because people don't want to put out that effort. They don't want to do all the lots. They don't want to do the shipping that is involved. They don't want to wait for 3 weeks from some guy from Germany or some lady from, Lithuania to send them the set parts that they need. But if you're willing to do that kind of work, you can typically find a better price. The Darth Maul I have behind me right now. That is a brick-linked set. I did not buy it used. I literally built it brick by brick because it's just black and red bricks. I made a couple substitutions of pieces that were super rare that I didn't care if they were substituted. It saved me literally like $100. 10181, the old school Eiffel Tower that came out, like I say, back in I want to say like 2007. I missed it. I loved that Eiffel Tower. This is before the new one was released, and I wanted that bad. I was like, you know what? It's all basically bluish gray brick. Let's see if I can bricklink it. And at the time, it actually has come down in price since the new one came out for sure. And it is definitely dated. But at the time, buying it used was still like $700, $800. And so I bricklinked it for about $350 to $400. I still paid more than I would have at retail, but I did save money building it brick by brick. Now, of course, and this is something you need to consider, because Lego will re-release a set, sometimes bigger and better. The Eiffel Tower is a great case in point in this. The original one has come down in price, meaning people are having a harder time selling it, which means it comes down. And so I wouldn't bricklink it now. I would actually just buy the set used on Bricklink. And again, you don't need the instruction manual because all instruction manuals are available online for every set for like the last at least 30 years, if not longer. So if you're good with building off a computer screen, you don't need the instruction manual. If you're not a minifigure fan, you'll save lots of money buying sets that don't have minifigures. Lots of money. Buying a Cloud City with all the minifigures is going to cost you $2,000 more than buying a Cloud City that has no minifigures. And it is just as simple as that. So those are definitely things to consider. But there you go. The story of the white whale. Like I say, one day I may now, this is one other thing, I didn't mention this, but as time goes on, pieces that were once rare tend to not be so rare anymore. And so I got to be honest with you, I haven't looked at the Statue of Liberty in quite some time. And because I'm like, I'm not going to spend all that money on those sand green bricks that are very, very rare. Well, there's been a lot more sets with sand green bricks. So I may look at it again, decide, is it worth it? I might bricklink it. That would be a pretty cool set to build. I'm just saying. Or mock it out and see what I can come up with. But yeah, there you go. The 7 levels of rarity to getting your white whale. Again, I would love to know what is your white whale? What are you into? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. I just think it's really cool, the dreams that people have. Because if you're a collector, you got to dream of one set out there. Even me, I clearly have all the sets I need. And I know that. But there's still that set I want. There's still that really special set out there somewhere in my heart that I just want and I would love to have. So again, I appreciate you coming along on this one. Talking about white whales, kind of a fun one, kind of different. Make sure you tune in next Monday. I got some new news and rumors. I'm going beyond May the 4th, so I'm going into the summer sets. That's going to be cool. Some interesting new rumors that have already dropped. And then next Wednesday, I'm doing a set review. I'm going to help you decide if that new Jango Fett Starship is worth it to you by helping you compare it to the original 2015 Slave 1. So I will be set reviewing that next Wednesday. So again, if you like what you hear, I would love it if you could subscribe to the podcast or even subscribe to the channel. Every little bit helps me out, and I just love doing it. It's fun. I love working with you. I love the support. I love the interaction, and so I just appreciate it. But hey, until Monday, I'll just have to talk to you on the next one. All right? Bye-bye.